What is up? Welcome back to another NFL Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. Can't help but laugh after watching the NFL this weekend. Title, what we thought we didn't know, and what we didn't think we knew turned out to be true. So what were your thoughts on the NFL this weekend before we jump in game by game?
What a crazy year NFL has been. It's most definitely a week-to-week league. You see like Josh Allen and the Bills, what they did last week, and then they come back and do that this week. The Chiefs absolutely bounce back in a big way, and then you get teams like the Browns and teams like the Chargers, who I'm high on. The Packers shutting out Russell Wilson. I absolutely did not see that coming. It's so many things. We're going to get game by game. I'm excited to break it all down and talk about it, but man, the NFL is as crazy as it gets. Tom Brady, I mean, the Buccaneers, it's wide open. I mean, the Rams, the favorites, Robert Woods goes down. We'll see about OBJ and that tonight. I can't remember a championship, a Super Bowl being this wide open in Week 10, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think it's great for the league. It's tough for us as handicappers, but, we're going to adjust and make things work. Our guy, Jonathan Nelson, in here. Pretty happy yesterday with the Vikings getting that win. Tyler, give me some of your takeaways of the weekend before we jump in game by game.
I mean, Title touched on pretty much everything. It was just a crazy Sunday. Nothing makes sense in the NFL anymore. You got the top. These teams pencil in at the top as the elite teams, drop games the next week to these garbage teams. So, I mean, Super Bowl is wide open, but I think New England's starting to separate themselves in the AFC. Now, saying that, watch them get blown out.
The kiss of death.
There's the curse.
Well, let's jump in game by game. I wrote down some questions yesterday during the game, and then this morning when I was listening to, of course, all the reaction podcasts. And, I stay away from ESPN. I try and get a little sharper information, but a lot of the stuff was the same. It was just a big W, a big T, and a big F. So let's try and make sense of it on this show today. Guys, the first question I have is about the Dallas Cowboys. What a performance as the Cowboys win. So the final score is 43-3. Not necessarily surprised that the Cowboys put up 43 on a Falcons defense, that we didn't rate that highly. Am surprised that the defense did held the Falcons, who were starting to seem to come together as an offensive unit, to 3 points. What an all-around victory, and what a difference a week makes, right? Last week we're wondering what's really going on there in Dallas with that loss to Denver. Now Dallas puts it on them and kind of jumps back into that NFC contender conversation. Do you believe that they're true contenders, Title, or do you think that was kind of an anomaly yesterday?
No, this is actually one of the few, one of the few spots looking from last week to this week that I actually got right on both sides. One of the few. I mean, I think the Falcons, I've always said Matt Ryan's dust. I'm not a believer in them. And I thought the Cowboys would bounce back. They're just way too talented on both sides of the ball, but mainly their offense. They got Gallup back healthy. I think, Coach Mike definitely brings them back. Mike McCarthy, that's going to be a very big concern, backing them in the playoffs and close games and stuff. But I definitely think they're contenders. Zeke, Pollard, Amari, CeeDee, Gallup, Dak, they just got studs everywhere. And then you can't really find teams as athletic as they are on the offensive end. So I definitely believe in the Cowboys. What a performance. Matt Ryan stays dust. Excited to see what the Falcons do next year, because this has to be Matt Ryan's last year.
I like that quote. Matt Ryan stays dust. It's just a great visual there. Tyler, I gave Title the easy question. I'm going to give you the tougher question.
Keep it that way too.
What happened to the Falcons, man? Is this just an anomaly? Do you think this offense gets back on track, or do you think that as long as they play the better teams, they're constantly going to fall short? What are your thoughts on the Falcons from here, Tyler? What do we do with them in our power rankings?
I mean, they're still I wouldn't to say they're going to be maybe a playoff team. I think they're on the outside looking in, but their offensive line's weak. Dan Quinn was calling the defensive plays for Dallas. You got to think he knows Matt Ryan inside and out and that offense. Yeah. That was probably another key here. So they dropped Micah Parsons to the defensive line a lot in this game and just let him tear apart. I believe it was the right tackle. Now just think what happens once Dallas's defensive line gets healthy. They're going to back him up into the linebacker spot. He's going to drop more in coverage. So I think they're definitely a threat. But Atlanta, I mean, they'd be lucky to sniff a wild card spot.
All right, let's move on to the very next game. Let's just get these blowouts out of the way right off the bat. The Bills, 45. The Jets, 17. not much to say about the Bills personally. Title, they actually did their job yesterday, right? They were a team that on this show last week we said we're good, and they showed out and showed they were good. Hey, congratulations, guys! We're glad because there's a lot of teams that we said were good that did not do that. So I guess I'm going to ask you a question about the Jets, and my question is: how disappointed are the executives at Disney that this Mike White Cinderella story has ended? The 30 from 30 has been thrown in the trash. What did you think of the 4 interception performance? And just can Mike White bounce back, or is this Zach Wilson's job? Is it safe?
I mean, I think Zach Wilson's job is safe, especially after that. The thing is, like, the Jets are, whoever's at quarterback, they're in a really, really tough spot. I mean, with the offensive line, the lack of weapons, the running game doesn't get going. Like, defenses just tee off on whoever's sitting back there at quarterback. So I'm not putting all the blame on Mike White at all. The Jets, I don't know what the answer is for them. The New York football fans, I could not imagine how painful it has to be and how it's been lately. But I honestly have no clue about the Jets. As far as their quarterback situation, though, I think it has to be Zach Wilson when he's ready to go, though. They invested too much into him.
I was really hoping we'd have the Mike White story and we'd have a little bit of controversy. Tyler, talking about this Jets team, man. I mean, they've given up like more than 160 points combined in the last 4 games. Robert Saleh was brought in to be a defensive coordinator, but I've said this before. This guy was on the hot seat before the Super Bowl winning year, and so far he's only shown that he can really scheme up a great defense when he has the absolute best defensive line in the league. Other than that, it's kind of been mixed results. Do you think that Robert Saleh gets more than 1 year as the Jets head coach, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to give him more than 1 year. He loses his starting quarterback to injury. They'll probably go out, they'll spend some money in free agency and give him a shot with a better defense. Don't they have 2 first-round picks still from the Jamal Adams trade, I believe, this year?
Yeah, they should have one from Seattle and then, of course, their own, which will be quite lucrative.
Yeah, so they'll have 2 first-round picks. They'll be able to use those. So, and to touch on the Mike White situation, I agree. It's got to be Zach Wilson as your starter. Even he won that game against Cincinnati and threw for 400 yards. He still threw 2 picks in every game he's played. It's just this game he ticked it up to 4 and just didn't throw for 300 yards. So,
well, let's hope he keeps that starting job, Tyler, and then maybe we'll have an heir apparent to our Darnold interception prop, right? Hey, let Mike White take over the reins and we can keep cashing because it looks like, that Darnold money train is now over in Carolina, right? We cannot bet the best bet in NFL, and that was Sam Darnold to throw an interception. Let's talk about was a surprising game. It's a game that we all circled and thought was going to be a really close game. It was not. The New England Patriots beat the Browns 45-7. Before I do my little dance on Baker's grave here, Title, we'll talk about the Patriots. So I need to know now, number one, why can't they win the AFC, right? I was saying that a little while ago. You guys said, I don't know. Looking more and more like it. And my next question, Mac Jones, Rookie of the Year. What do you think?
Yeah, no, you definitely were ahead of the curve on this one. I'm late to the curve. The AFC just hasn't been as impressive. Like we talked about was in the beginning, like how open the NFL is, and the AFC is wide open. And the Patriots, they play defense, they run the football, they dominate time of possession. And Mac Jones has been the best quarterback in his rookie class for sure. So yeah, Rookie of the Year, absolutely right now. I mean, if he leads them in the playoffs, I think he definitely should be. 19 for 23, 198 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Didn't make mistakes, made good throws. They're always going to be a run-first team, but they got the system going. I mean, you don't want to see New England. I mean, I'm coming around to it. I still probably will not be betting them in the playoffs. That might be a mistake. Maybe I'm not going to bet against them either. I don't have as good of a read on them, I guess. But run the football, play defense, don't make mistakes, and you can win football games, especially in this year in the NFL. So I'm with you. I think they can make a run.
Tyler, is Mac Jones your Rookie of the Year?
I mean, it's close. It's either got to be him or Jamar Chase, I think. If Jamar Chase gets up over 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns, it's going to be hard-pressed not to give it to him. But if Mac Jones leads this team to let's say like a 12-5 record, or it'd be 12-6.
I don't think that would be that good, do you?
I mean, they could be.
They're 6-4 right now, so they'd have to go what? They'd only lose 1 game the rest of the season?
I mean, they could ride this defense. The running game's starting to pick up. They're a healthy team, too. I could see it.
Then he's a lock. If he does that, he's got to be a lock to win it.
Yeah, if he does that, it's his. But
Okay.
if Jamar
Yeah, I'd
Chase
agree
puts
there.
up numbers again, I think he takes it. Yeah, I believe he's the favorite. I'll double check that.
All right, Title. I had to stretch out before the show today. Time to take this victory lap. Baker Mayfield outplayed by a rookie. I've been hearing all year, you got to extend Baker. You got to at least franchise him, right? Don't put yourself in that Kirk Cousins situation with a quarterback that's good enough to get it done, but not really good enough to get it there. If Mac Jones can beat him, why can't the Browns do it again with the rookie next year? What do you think, Title? Even on the franchise, should they bring Baker back?
I'm not a Baker guy, really. Like, this is more of a Tyler. I think he's fine. I think there's definitely more upside.
But you want to give him the $30 million a year, right?
No, definitely not.
What do you think, Tyler?
No, I mean, you don't pay him. If anything, you just franchise tag him. They're not just going to let him walk away.
I could see the franchise because this year
any of the other 31 teams, then maybe I'd agree they let him walk. This is the Browns. They had the quarterback. Hell, they're going to do something to keep him there.
Yeah, I can see the franchise, I guess, because from what I'm hearing, this is not a good year, right? I've watched Malik Willis out of Liberty. I wasn't that impressed, to be fair. He didn't cover the game that I watched, so I was pretty upset about that. Supposedly Jaden Daniels at ASU is really good. And who's the other kid? The kid out by you. Pickett. How do you think he'll be?
I mean, I think he's a fraud.
Right. So it's like
everyone's basing his like stats this year, but if you look at he started for 4 years.
Yeah.
He was mediocre the other 3 years. Then they play this soft ass schedule this year. He explodes onto the scene. Now everyone wants to think he's a top pick. So I take that with caution.
I think Baker's going to really greatly financially benefit from the fact that this is probably the worst rookie quarterback class in the last 5 years. And who knows if it turns out to be true, because we've heard this before and they've turned out to be great and vice versa. But I think he could be profiting from that. Let's go look at this next game, Tyler. It features your team 16-16. The Lions and the Steelers tie. Once again, we found out an NFL player, Najee Harris, didn't know they could tie in the NFL. Shout out to Donovan McNabb, the original man who was ignorant of this fact. So, Title, you and I both aren't, but you grew up in close proximity, well, closer than me at least. If you're a Lions fan, man, do you just laugh or cry? Like, what do you do? I didn't even know what to put on this team. Just laugh or cry.
The thing is, my stepdad is a Lions fan too.
Oh,
like,
no.
Not a diehard or like any stuff like that, but like that's who he cheers for, and like his whole family when we got up to the UP and stuff. Like,
yeah,
they literally, it's so funny just to watch from a distance as a Lions fan. Yeah, it's just, you have to be so sad to be a Lions fan. G. Risen, I know, talks about it sometimes. Like Justin Tucker, of course, it's gonna hit the post and bounce over, and they find every way to lose or not win.
How did the guy miss the kick yesterday?
Not win.
Just unbelievable.
Didn't even get touched. Like, he literally just. But the thing is, like, I literally knew there was no chance it was going in because of the Lions. Like, it wasn't even a doubt in my mind that kick wasn't going in. That's just how cursed they are. So
it's like on Madden, your overall rating should drop 5 points if you put a Lions uniform on, right?
Yep. I mean, you literally just. It's insane. It would sucks to be a Lions fan, especially if Stafford goes on to win it all and stuff like that. Even more of a kick in the teeth, because Stafford's always been a good quarterback. I mean, we had the days of Megatron and Stafford that were fun, but they were never contenders. I don't know. I'm starting to think the Lions are going to be cursed forever, and they'll never get one in my lifetime. But obviously, there's a lot of years for that to possibly change. But not a good
for me, it's a little safer to say that, Title.
Yeah, for you maybe. for you, I think that would be good odds.
Little safer there. Happen. Tyler, who's got it worse, Jets fans or Lions fans? Who's got a worse future?
Worst future? I gotta go Lions fans. It's got to be Lions fans. They just have no path to success. Yeah. Like, if the Jets go out and just dump money in free agency, like, I trust their coach. Like, Zach Wilson, you put some weapons around them, he could do something. So it's got to be Lions fans. You're not building anything. Detroit's a dump.
Nah, you don't want to go to Detroit.
Like, what are their building blocks on that team? The offensive line? That's it?
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, but I mean, those running backs, right? I mean, like, they're not game changers. So
yeah, CMC, we'll get there, but CMC is a game changer. That's about it.
All right. Well, let me go to the other side. So, title last week. So, wait, you don't come on the rundown show, but on Tuesday, right? Tyler and I, we both love the points, right? We love the points. We said we're taking the points with the Detroit Lions, right? Lit down spot, right? And then Tyler said, "I'm taking the money line," right? And Jay and I did the Home Alone, right? Then I don't know what does Saturday morning, Sunday morning. I'm not sure when. I read Ben Roethlisberger's out, right? And now the money line play is starting to make sense. So, Title, my question for you is, does Tyler have a hidden inside source in the Steelers organization? What's going on here, Title? How did he know that?
I mean, the thing is, like, Big Ben's so dust anyway. Like, the line didn't even move that much. Like, I agreed with Tyler's point anyway with Big Ben in the Lion spot. Like, but that's one of the few quarterbacks. I know Big tweeted about it or something. Like, it only moved 1.5 or something. But yeah, I mean,
it should have moved more. Mason Rudolph's terrible.
But so is Big Ben. Like, I think that at least I know I'm
the stats Mason Rudolph put up are the same stats Ben would have put up in that situation.
I'm with you. I think
football stats are the least predictive.
That's all.
You watched that game. You didn't see an NFL quarterback, did you? At any point,
Big Ben. I don't see an NFL quarterback in.
Who's dustier, Title? Who's dustier, Matt Ryan or Big Ben?
Yeah,
question to you.
That's when it really gets tough. They both can't move.
I'll give you till next week to answer that one. That's a tough question.
It's got to be Big Ben. Like Matt Ryan can't move, but he could at least hit the receiver.
Yeah, I was
gonna say Big Ben just misses.
Big Ben would have been my thing too, because he holds on to a little longer and stuff. But like those are two people that I look at. Like, how are you still running a franchise? And those are your guys right now in 2021. Like,
we got to get like a little graphic of some dust just flowing across the screen for when Tyler announces these people just as pure dust. So Tyler, I know you don't want to give out your inside source yet, but hey, we pretty much called it. Go ahead. I took my Baker victory lap earlier. Go ahead, run around the stadium. Let everyone know how you knew the Steelers were going to let down once again.
I mean, that's just that you watch it for your whole life spread. They win the games against big teams that come in undefeated. Or like 7-1, the powerhouse teams, and they just wipe the floor with them. And then here comes the mediocre teams or the bottom dwellers, and they just lay an egg. They were sleepwalking. They sleptwalked the Seattle second half. They should have lost to Chicago. So it lined up perfectly right here. And I was taking the money line regardless if Ben was in. So there was no insider source on that one spread.
I know. I was just having fun with you because, I love the points. I watched the line go down all week. The market agreed with us before the news. The news comes out, the line moves even farther, and I'm just thinking he's on to something. Especially if you hit the money line on Tuesday when we talked about it, when it was still correlated to 9.5. Boy, and it must have been so rough watching. Remember I told you Patrick Sorensen looks like what I would look like as a cornerback? That kick looked like what it would look like. I remember in high school I had a buddy. He actually was a real good kicker. He got a scholarship to UTEP at Texas El Paso. And I would go out there with him sometimes and hold, and help him practice. And I would try a couple times, because he made it look so easy, And just even the normal extra point was pretty hard for me, 35-yarder. That's what it looked like when I tried those 35-yarders. Unfortunately, that was like my third or fourth time trying it, right? This guy's a professional kicker. I have no idea what happened. The poor Detroit Lions. Tyler's team gets out of there for the win.
Of the kicker, it was like half snowing, half raining, and windy as hell in Pittsburgh yesterday.
All right, that's fair. Gross. I'll give you a point. I've never kicked in those conditions. I live in California. We pray for rain. We get it like 5 times a year. Let's talk about the Jaguars and the Colts. I didn't even know what to write down about the Jaguars at this point. I mean, Title, do you have anything for this team? I mean, it's been a huge disappointment. We're wasting a year of Trevor already. I don't know. Anything about them?
I didn't know what to say about this game really either. I mean, Dan Arnold's wide receiver 1. Jamal Agnew is a stud and very explosive, but he only got the ball 3 times for 79 yards. Like, they got some bright spots, but it's like Laviska Shenault coming in. He was getting drafted like 6th round in best ball, and now he's like 4th on the depth chart. It seems like this whole team is just Urban's got to go. They got to figure something out. It's sad for Lawrence. He's got the talent. I think he'll be just fine, but I don't even know what to say. If Dan Arnold's wide receiver 1 right now for you, something's got to change.
Tyler, do you have anything on this game at all? I mean, even on the Colts side, right? They did what they're supposed to do. I don't think they covered.
No, I mean, this game was exactly what everyone expected out of both these teams. The Colts looked like the powerhouse in the first quarter. It looks like Jonathan Taylor's going to run for 350 yards this game.
Mhm.
They go up. They look like they're going to cover the spread. And then they turn around and look like they're almost going to lose the game outright in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, that's pretty much it from this game.
I don't understand. You're up 17-6 after the first. Jonathan Taylor ends the game with 21 carries, and Carson Wentz throws it 34 times. Like, JT was getting whatever he wanted on the ground. You give it to him 30 times, you easily win that game.
Out of those 116, he had like 100 of those in the first quarter.
Yeah.
He was on pace for 400 yards that game, and then you were just like, nah, we're just going to go away from that.
Didn't make sense. Never does.
And it's weird because Reich is one of the guys that I'd have in the top 15, right? Like, I'm fine running down Salah and Campbell and Urban. But I mean, like, example, as a Raiders fan, if they said, hey, you're hiring Frank Reich, I'd feel like we upgraded. So obviously, even the best people can make mistakes. Even Michael Jordan missed shots here. But I definitely thought that was a mistake. And I tell you what, when you have what is it? I don't know what the right term would be, but title. I saw that a lot of you guys had Jonathan Taylor in the core, but I said I want Dalvin Cook instead going against the Chargers, right? And I don't know if it'd be like buyer's remorse or whatever. I'm like, he's gonna break the slate, like, oh, I'm done, I'm dusted. And then it was like it just stopped.
I said on the spread pod or something. I mentioned your name because I was thinking, like, I always remember, like, anyone against the Chargers, they're gonna gash him on the ground, and like spread always preaches it. I'm like, great spot for Dalvin. I mean, Dalvin got there too. JT got there.
He did.
So either of them were fine.
He had 94 yards with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, that is so crazy. How many carries was that? Do you know?
I can go back through and tally up the carries. I was just counting the yards.
No, it's not that big. But I mean, so he ended with 116. Like, Jaguars had plenty of chances to win that game too. The Colts, Big T, Colts aren't it, that's for sure.
On 10 carries.
Yeah. So he only got
So interesting decision making there by the head coach and offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts.
People are talking about Agnew in chat. Is he a running back wide? I mean, he's whatever.
He's a kick returner. That's what he is.
Yeah, he's just a specialist freak that'll get you get him the ball any way you can get him the ball.
Yeah. The Saints and the Titans. Tyler, this is the one that pissed me off. I'm sending you the cussing emojis right after the Titans failed to cover. I didn't really know what to make of the Saints this game. Obviously, playing with the backup quarterback. I'll tell you, from the Saints side, I didn't have a lot. Obviously, I was a little mad though, because that was my toughest loss yesterday. Sometimes you lose it and you say, "Boy, I made a bad pick." Right? Denver Broncos. Okay, my bad. Right, I kept it wrong. But one like that where you feel like you got it right and it's snatched away from you hurts a little bit more. Title, what did you see from the Saints? Because my anger prevented me from writing a good question here.
So I'm glad that they went with Simeon, like we talked about last week. I thought he was, even if Taysom was healthy and he played, I thought going back to Simeon on a full week was the right call. And Simeon played fine. I mean, 1934, 298, 2 touchdowns. Like, he put him in position to be competitive and win a football game. I thought that was fine. Mark Ingram, obviously without Kamara, definitely hurt. But Mark Ingram did fine. Deontay Harris, 3 for 84. Like, their defense played pretty well too. I thought they fought. I thought they competed. Wait, what was that comment? Because
Tyler's drinking out of the Chick-fil-A cup.
Oh, definitely the talk.
Richie's going to leave watching the show to go get a 12-piece.
Love it. Yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. You didn't interrupt. I saw him and I laughed last. But yeah, I thought Simeon did fine. I thought they competed. They played defense. They played 4 quarters. I thought it was a solid performance, and they put themselves in a position to win without their best player.
Tyler, what did you think of the Saints yesterday?
I mean, they pieced together 21 points. We'll say that. They dink and dunked it down the field with Simeon, and then they ran it with Mark Ingram until he popped through a hole and actually gained some yards and not just fell for 1-yard gains. But, I mean, their defense looked all right. The Titans, on the other hand, their pass rush is getting a lot of pressure on these quarterbacks. They sacked Simeon 4 times. Mm-hmm. That Simmons guy had 2 of them again this game. He might be a dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year. I got to look at the odds. But if he keeps racking up sacks like this and Tennessee keeps winning, that could be a nice play right there.
That's interesting, yeah, because he's not being talked about a lot on all these shows. Could be a dark horse, but of course, since it is a media award, not being talked about, of course, could hurt. Let's talk about the Titans title. 8-2, but no one I'm talking to actually believes this team can make the Super Bowl. How can this team be 8-2, but no one believes? What's going on, Title? Break it down.
They lost Derrick Henry is what happened, unfortunately. And I'm with the people. I don't think an Adrian Peterson, Deontay Foreman, Jeremy McNichols is good enough to get it done personally. Good defense, for sure, getting pressure. Got to be able to run the football at least a little bit in the NFL. They got A.J. Brown, but Julio's he's always banged up. Nothing's changed this year.
Does he get the dust? Does he get the dust moniker yet?
I'm not gonna give a, because when he's on the field and the few times he is healthy,
it's kind of muddy.
Yeah, it's it's sad that his hamstrings and his injuries are like that. Because man, when he is healthy, he's a freak for sure. But I just don't see without Derrick Henry this team being able to get there to the Super Bowl. So I'm with the people. But yeah, 8-2. I think I only need one more win, I believe, to get the over on the season prop. So I'll take that. But it sucks Derrick Henry went down.
What do you think, Tyler? No one believes. Are you going to join?
I mean, if the NFL wasn't just so wide open, especially the AFC this year, I would say no, they have no chance. But if their defense is going to keep playing like this and getting pressure on these quarterbacks, and Tannehill just plays it safe, keeps the ball protected, puts points on the board, they could make a run. Like, they get something out of the run game and don't force all the pressure on Tannehill. With that defense, I mean, who's the top horse in the AFC right now? New England or Buffalo?
It's got to be Buffalo.
Yeah, it's got to be Buffalo. So I think they could beat Buffalo on a given night. They've done it already once.
All right. Well, I know that Mike Vrabel does not get credit because, he doesn't design the beautiful plays that Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay draw up. But I think we have to get him credit. The team shows up every week, right? And normally we'd say, so what? But this is the NFL, right? Well, we just spent the last 2 weeks talking about all these great teams with great players, great performances, great net ratings. They lay complete eggs. So I think we do have to give Vrabel credit for the fact that they've avoided that letdown. Now that we've said that, they probably lose by 36 this week, right?
Tennessee, New England, AFC Championship game, Belichick versus Vrabel.
I love it.
Winner goes on to play Brady in the Super Bowl.
Oh, great. I think they might be in trouble. What a segue, Tyler, because that's the next one I got on the sheet. Is this team dependent on AB? What happened? Jay said, "Oh, I want the football team on the live show and with us, Tyler." And we all said, "No, don't do that. Take the Lions, right? We like the Lions as a dog. We're not so sure about this football team." Boy, that bet was even better than our Lions bet as the football team. I mean, they did this last year too. They looked absolutely terrible, and then they're the opposite of the Raiders. They come together in November. That defense looked pretty good yesterday. That was the defense we expected preseason. That was the defense we saw last year. This Washington football team's coming together. But let's talk about the Buccaneers first, Title. I mean, no AB, no Gronk. Brady looks average, right? He's not dusty there, right? But maybe get out the feather thing. I'm getting ready here. How much is his success dependent on having those premier weapons?
Yeah, I mean, AB means so much. Gronk for sure. Godwin isn't 100%, but he played almost every single snap. Yeah, I think. I mean, at the end of the day, there's 6-3. Teams have off weeks and stuff. I think they'll be fine. Brady's costing me so much money, and probably the guy that's cost me the most money betting against in the world. So I'm done doubting them. I think they'll be fine. But man, I mean, you can't get dominated in time of possession. 39-20 in time of possession. Their defense couldn't get off the field on third downs. 2 interceptions for Brady. They were early. They got down. It's just they got outplayed in pretty much every aspect of the game. As far as the football team, though, as good as they looked and as big as that win is, it's still a loss at the end of the day with Chase Young going down. I mean, you hate to see that, but it looks like torn ACL out for the year. So that's really sad news.
Tyler, hot take time. You ready to write the grave of Brady yet? Or is it or am I getting too little Skip Bayless on you?
No chance. He's still got to win us the MVP this year.
You think he's still in there, huh?
I mean, he's plus 350. The only guy ahead of him is Josh Allen. I mean,
and only if Josh Allen they didn't run the ball 4 times, 4 rushing touchdowns really hurt for DFS. That's another aspect. But yeah, he easily could have won it. Josh Allen didn't even get the touchdowns this week like he should have.
Yep. But I mean, I think you could throw this game out for Tampa Bay. They did this last year. You could pencil in the Chicago game from last year. They play that game 10 times. They lose it once. They just so happened to lose it last year. I think if they played Washington 10 times again, they'd lose that game one time. The 2 picks early gave them the short field. They were able to put points on the board. And by the time Tampa Bay finally got into the game, Washington was getting their offense flowing. There just wasn't enough time left. So I think they'll be fine.
Do you think that we're going to get another late season surge from the football team? What do you think? Start with you, Title.
Without Chase Young, I don't think so. I think that's such a big piece. Like, I like Terry. I like Gibson. I think Heineke's solid. Their defense, the Chase Young, I think, is too much to overcome. So I'm going to say no. I think they're going to play teams tight, though.
What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I agree with Title. I think they'll play them tight, but I don't think they can get there without Chase Young.
All right. Let's move on to another blowout. NFL wasn't really that good yesterday, which is great because I had lots of NBA and tennis to work on. But wow, another blowout. But it wasn't the team that was favored by 10 points this time. The Carolina Panthers. Cam is back. He let us know, Title. He let us know. I wasn't sure, but he took off his helmet and he let me know that he was back. And they just smashed on the Arizona Cardinals. We'll talk about Cam in a bit, but let's talk about the Cardinals. In my power ratings, can I just throw this game out?
100%.
Okay.
So
it's just to take nothing away from it. Would you agree with that, Tyler?
Yeah, I do. I mean, until they're healthy and Kyler Murray and Hopkins are back, you can't really drop them in your power rankings.
Okay, that's easy. Then
I will say a little bit the defense, especially without the JJ Watt and stuff. Like defense got to figure out a little bit, but I've still thrown it out. I'm with you. Defense, a little concerned.
Well, let's talk about what I think is one of the most fun stories of yesterday, and that was the return of Cam Newton. And here was my idea, man. I watched that. Did you see McCaffrey? So when Cam's yelling, I'm back, did you see McCaffrey he was hyped. And I was so my question here is does his swag, hit the confidence that he brings and just his pure physical dominance, does that rejuvenate a Carolina team that we had kind of written off? Tyler, you played a lot of sports. When you're next to a Cam Newton, is your locker room a little more hyped up? How do you think this affects the Panthers going forward?
I do think so, especially because they got out to the good start for the year, so they believed in themselves. They were in a good spot. Then they had it. McCaffrey went down. They had to deal with some injuries. Then they just absolutely got pounded. Darnold played awful, so people are thinking it's the quarterback's fault and stuff. Then you get a guy like Cam, who he has the accolades in the past. Everyone knows Cam Newton, how physical he is. The big thing with the Panthers team, I love Cam. I think this is an upgrade for them. Just his swag, like you said, his locker room presence, his competitive nature. I love everything about it, and I think the team does too. The big thing though, McCaffrey's back, and while we say mainly running backs don't matter, McCaffrey just makes this team so much better. It's insane how much this guy does for a football team and opens stuff up on the offensive end. Now you get Cam in the picture, a little read option and stuff. I'm on this Panthers team. I really like it. They're only 5-5, but this defense is flying around. McCaffrey's back. They still got DJ Moore. Throbbey finally got in the end zone. I'm aboard of this Panthers team. So, of course, next week they're going to lose by 40. That's just how it goes on this show. But I like them.
What do you think, Tyler? Is Cam bring that energy to the team, even if he's only basically just running red zone sets?
No, I think he rejuvenates them, and I think it's going to be more than red zone sets. They said today he's going to be.
I think he's going to start, right?
Yeah, he's going to take in the first team reps, so he'll be starting. So they'll be running a lot of that read option. I think it's going to be a lot of dump offs to McCaffrey, so we'll be all over those props for the next couple of weeks until they put McCaffrey into the ground again because he was back in the blue tent in that game.
Yeah, that was scary.
It's not like Kyler Murray, man. I would run that guy into the ground. You talk about tackling Derrick Henry, it's got to be close to the same thing. The guy's 6'6" and he's built like a truck.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I would run him to the ground if I was Matt Rule. I'd be running that RPO 20 to 30 times a game. And him pitching to McCaffrey, you got power and speed. Oh, man. Sign me up. I'm excited.
Madden. It's literally Madden and the stat and DFS and the stack.
Put him in the shotgun and put Chuba Hubbard on the other side with Christian McCaffrey on the other.
Triple option. Yep. Little triple option status.
Let's go, Joe Brady. I want to see. Let's form a little Brady bunch with those players and figure out what we can do. Let's go to another game that absolutely disappointed me. But hey, I'll admit, it's not like the Titans where I felt like it was a bad beat. I felt that I was on the wrong side. Once again, I underestimated the Minnesota Vikings, man. They're just this under the radar team that just keeps spoiling everyone. And Title, I should listen to you DFS guys a little more, because this team has so many weapons. Once again, the Chargers. I remember Tyler, we were talking about, stuff sticks on tape. I want to go back 4 weeks and delete the episode where I said the Chargers were going to win the AFC, because what is going on with this team? Title, go ahead and talk about both, because I think we upgrade the Vikings some more and we got to downgrade the Chargers off a disappointing loss. You have to agree, right?
Well, you might as well be going back and deleting some of my stuff too. Like I got futures on the Chargers. Like I'm a huge Herbert guy. Keenan Allen, Eckler, Mike Williams. I think their defense can come around a little bit. And not even like the run defense was the problem. I mean, 24 carries for 94 yards for Dalvin, 3.9. Like they ran him into the ground. It's one of the best running backs. Like it wasn't really the Chargers running defense that was necessarily the problem. I always say it, and people are finally learning. Justin Jefferson, he literally might be the best receiver in the league. He might be second. He might be third. He's top 5. Like at the end of the day, when third downs and when they needed to get off the field, they couldn't guard Justin Jefferson. And finally, the Vikings and Kirk Cousins just force feed the man. He's going to go off. 9 catches, 143 yards. It's tough to win a game when you can't get off the field against that. Kirk Cousins played fine. They still have Dalvin. They got Thielen there. Like they got the weapons. The defense looked impressive. I mean, the Vikings record, I know we've talked about it, but 4-5, like they easily could be 6-3. I mean, like they so many close games that they easily could have been on the other side of. So this Vikings team is way better than the record tells them. Huge win coming into LA, the Chargers. I don't even know what to say about the Chargers at this point. I was so high on them. I think Herbert's a complete stud. I like Eckler. I like Keenan. I like their coach. But like, you can't lose these games if you want to be Super Bowl contenders or AFC champions and stuff. So I'm not the person to listen to about the Chargers.
Tyler, help us through a heartbreak. What do we do with this Chargers team?
I have
to downgrade them, but how much?
Chargers team spread, because they change every week. Like they can't stop the run. I thought maybe they would have been able to limit Jefferson, maybe put some Derwin James on him. And where's our guy Jonathan Nelson that told us, what was it, Jefferson over 73.5 receiving yards was an auto bet?
Yeah, he's in here.
He's in
here.
He's right. He's
in
nice.
here.
The dude doubled that yards in the game. So
yeah,
I mean,
he's too nice. I'm telling you, this man is gonna be.
That was the other
the best of all time.
We had on Friday spread was is he a top 5 receiver? And I said maybe he's like 6th or 7th. Yeah, he's probably 4th or 5th.
This man,
maybe 3rd.
This man is something different. He's been this way too, and he's swag. Like I mean, he makes every catch in the, like I don't know. Obviously, I've been a little biased, but I think this man is something really, really special.
All right, well, let's just come back to this Chargers conversation next week. Maybe we'll have a little more information, and we'll know what to do with this team. They're picking up a win
this week, spread. They're playing the Steelers in prime time.
I mean, and you know what's so funny is if because everyone likes this new coach, and he's like young, and he says like really cool stuff. Nobody's blaming him, right? But if it was Anthony Lynn still coaching that team, same results, sure. Right? He would have been getting oh, he's an idiot. He's the worst coach ever. It's like, well, wait a second. Now they're still having the same problems. Ultra talented, don't always show up and blow games that they should have an advantage in. So be interesting to see when Staley, if ever, gets the Anthony Lynn treatment, because I thought he made some really bad decisions towards the end of the games, but I think he did a good job developing these players. I'm interested to see where this goes. We got an Eagles fan in the chat. In back-to-back drafts, the Eagles took Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf and took Rieger over Jefferson. Yeah.
That's hurtful.
It is. I mean, I can't wait till we talk about my favorite team so we can talk about blown draft picks as well. Talk about blowing at the Denver Broncos. What an opportunity they had to jump in first place in the AFC West, and they absolutely blew it to a Philadelphia Eagles team that we don't rate that highly. But hey, slipping under the radar. They're 4-6, right? That's respectable for a team in their position. New coach Sirianni. A couple weeks ago, we were all ready to fire him off into the sun and relegate him to a lifelong coordinator. Maybe he's turning this team around. I mean, like, what do we do with Sirianni and this Eagles team, or is that just a fluke and the Broncos just aren't good?
I mean, my question, yeah, like I haven't been on the Broncos train really. I know, how do they let up, was it 12 carries to 80 for 83 yards to Jordan Howard and 11 carries for 81 yards to Boston Scott? Like how are those two guys doing that to a defense that's supposed to be pretty good? Because Teddy Bridgewater is not going to be putting up 35 a week for sure. They need to run the ball more. They ran the ball less than 20 times. Obviously, they were down 10-0 in the first, so they couldn't get it going. But like this team is not meant to play from behind. If the Broncos can't stop the running game, they're a mediocre team at best. So I'm not doing too much to either of these teams, to be honest. Like Sirianni's going to come back, I think. I know I'm more bullish on Jalen Hurts than pretty much everybody at RPS. I still think we give him some time. He's athletic. He can run. We've seen Lamar make big strides in the offseason, hit passing game. So I'm definitely not about to abandon Jalen Hurts, but you got to bring Sirianni back, I think. As far as the Broncos, like I don't know I don't think they're very good personally.
Yeah, Tyler, and that title set me up for it. So Sirianni's coming back. Fangio's got to go. This thing's over. He had his chance, it didn't work it. So Tyler, I got to ask you, what team needs Vic Fangio to be their defensive coordinator next year? Because that's where he's going. I mean, he's going to get swooped up. He's going to have 5 to 6 offers. I would take him on my favorite team. I'll tell you that much.
I think the Bills are going to have some coaching vacancies after this year. He could end up.
Do you think he'd go work under McDermott? Doesn't McDermott basically run that defense though?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
I'm pretty sure he does. I'm pretty sure it's like
he ends up on the Colts because Frank Reich's more of an offensive guy.
That would be good.
Ron Rivera.
Title, where would you like to see Fangio?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. When you said that, I'm trying to think. Usually I don't think about this stuff as much because I'm mainly focused on DFS, but I'm trying to think when Tyler's talking.
We'll have some fun, and we can just visit that one next week because, like I said, I think he's a great defensive coordinator. Just because you can't be a head coach doesn't mean that you won't be a great coordinator. Sure. Josh McDaniels showed that. He was terrible in Denver. I mean, he's killing it in New England.
Does Rivera call the defensive plays in Washington?
I don't know, but they have Jack Del Rio there, and I don't think he'll get rid of them because they're really like connected at the hip.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll go back into this, and maybe actually I should table this for about 3 or 4 more weeks when we have a way better idea of who's getting run. But when it came to the Broncos, that's all I could think. Like, I don't think the personnel is a problem. I mean, they're talent. They have enough talent. They should be able to compete. And it's one thing if you lost, even like the Chargers were respectable, but I mean, they got blown out by a team that was 3-6 going into this game at home. So at that point, you really have to just start wondering, hey, Dennis Allen, same thing. Awesome with the Raiders. I mean, terrible with the Raiders, and he's been awesome with the Saints for the last 12 years. And I don't think there's any shame in just being a defensive coordinator. So the Seahawks were another team that were disappointed, but I don't think that Russ Wilson was 100%. Regardless, we also have to wonder. We watched this team just kind of disintegrate talent-wise in the last 5 years. Before it, Russ was being carried. Now Russ has completely carried the team. Title, I'll start with you. Do you think Russ asks out again? Because I know that he asked out last offseason and they just stood pat. But after this season, do you think he realizes? And do you think that maybe Pete Carroll's a little past it? I'll tell you what, like, I don't want to be 70 years old doing 12 shows and 17 articles a day. I don't understand why these older guys don't want to retire, but it seems to me like might be getting a little past it. I mean, you might even use the term dusty. What do you think, Title?
Yeah, thinking, I guess, like I am thinking about that, or like you're 70 years old, you've been in it for so long, do you just want to retire and stuff? Like at the end of the day, like that's really all he knows. You're still best seat in the house for NFL football, coaching the guys. Like I can see still being 7 years old. Like I'm gonna be, hopefully, if DFS is still around, who knows? Like I'll still want to be grinding DFS when I'm 70 and stuff.
Yeah, but are you going to work the schedule you have now? Like, I'm not saying I won't be handicapping at that age, but I'm not going to do going to do the 60-hour-a-week grind.
No, I don't even do 60. I don't know. I'm definitely not going to do that. I just like my grandpa right now. He trades all the time. So like market open, market close, all that he's still doing it and keeps their brain going. But I don't know about that. As far as Russell Wilson, like, man, this game, obviously I'm a Packer fan, but like, I didn't fully believe in the defense. I thought he was going to be 100%. He definitely was not. I was all over this game shooting out. I thought DK, Lockett, I couldn't have got this game any more wrong from that aspect. They couldn't move the football at all. How does DK Metcalf only have 2 catches for 26 yards? Lockett 2 for 23. they couldn't get anything going. And like, I'm going to ask you guys because I'm a little biased, but like I'm generally wondering, and it's weird, are the Packers defense, is this a legit top 5 defense that are the Packers one of the Super Bowl favorites? If this defense is doing this and you got Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, they really got lucky. It looks like only 1 to 2 weeks, a sprained MCL or something, which it looked like it could have been way worse. They have A.J. Dillon, who absolutely wears down defense as the time goes on. Like, you got Rodgers and you got one of the top 5 defenses with Rodgers doesn't see. If that's the case, this team's very dangerous. So what they did to Russell Wilson, to Mahomes, forget, they did it to another team too recently. Like, is this a top 5 defense? Yeah, Cardinals. Yeah. I mean, those are 3 teams. Like, is this a top 5 defense? And if so, yes. Why is the Packers not one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl?
They are. I'm moving them ahead of Tampa in my overreaction power rankings this week, Tyler. What were your thoughts on this game here? Especially, let's talk about the Packers NFC Championship chances.
I mean, they're definitely. I still keep them at number 2, just because I'm not putting them above Brady yet. Depending where that game has to play, because I mean, they had to go to Lambeau last year. Really didn't matter. Brady still won that game up there.
Well, there was a lot of things in that too. But you're right.
But we could argue that every game. If for sure.
I just mean like LaFleur kicking that field goal and just certain things that it's like, yeah. But you're right. I mean, Brady outplayed him.
Yep, but I could see it. Green Bay could definitely be in the Super Bowl. I mean, with this defense, this is the best defense he's had in a long time, if not the best defense he's ever had. Yeah. If they get the 3 guys back on injured reserve, who is that title? Jari Alexander, Zadarius Smith, and who's the other one?
Is I think Preston's hurt too, isn't he?
Yeah, they get those guys back. The defense is just going to get better, so it might be good to get on them now to win the Super Bowl spread.
Because they got Stokes, who's now a complete stud on the opposite end. They don't have to rely on King, really, who I don't hate King. This Devondre Campbell dude's a complete stud that came out of nowhere. Like, it's just so weird for, like, the Packers to actually have a defense. And I thought, like, without Jair and they're a little banged up, I was like, Russ is going to put up points. Like, this game's just – and it was completely different. And now I'm really like, wow, the Packers might finally have the best defense. Right? Because even when Rodgers won the Super Bowl, they weren't a great defense. They let up a lot of yards. They forced a lot of turnovers, which is what they needed. This is a defense that looks really scary. So I don't know. I hate betting Packers, and I'm a fan and all that stuff. I don't let that get in DFS or any of that. But, man, from the eye test, Rodgers didn't even play a good football game. But if you let up 0 points, you're going to win.
Title, breaking down the real important metrics there. Yeah. That's some deep analytics that you guys only get here on the NFL Rundown. And can you imagine that? I mean, that has to be Pfizer's worst nightmare. Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl champion. Let's move on to the last game. Guys, let me rant for a minute. This Raiders team, what an absolute joke. What an absolute joke, man. That's like, you're on national TV. You have a party and everyone comes over and your house is a mess and you get drunk and throw up all over your floor. That's what the Raiders' performance was last night. I don't think this team is going to be able to overcome the loss of Henry Ruggs. And I was saying I wanted OBJ, and all my friends that are Raiders fans were like, no, Deshaun Jackson, he feels the role better. And I'm just sitting there watching last night and I go, well, there's a reason why Sean McVay wanted Beckham and didn't want Jackson, right? And we saw it last night. I don't even know what he was doing out there. Can't blame the loss on him. All the draft picks played terribly, right? Jonathan Abrams giving up big plays, Morig's dropping interceptions. I was high on Mayock, but after last night, I'm out. You're going to have to redo this whole thing. Bisaccia seems like a great guy, but you got to get your guys ready to go here. I don't mind taking the L here, but you can't show up and not perform at all. Of course, this team probably will bounce back because I do think that things kind of snowballed out of their control there. But, boy, I was disappointed. Title, talk me off the ledge, man. I mean, it's just – I mean, I know, like, it's like we're not the Jets or the Lions, right? So I don't want to go too far into this pity party. But still, I mean, we've been terrible for year after year after year. It just seems like no end in sight. Every year this happens at the end of the year. Now we can't even blame it on Gruden for the end of the year. Well, I mean, talk me off the ledge with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, it's a very tough situation. Obviously, they've went through more than any other team in this league. It's not even close with all the adversity they've had to deal with. Thankfully, they have a really good leader in Derek Carr. Derek Carr didn't even play horrible. He was pressured. He made a couple questionable throws.
I mean, they were 1-11 on third down.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. He didn't play great. I didn't think he played like awful. Like they ran the ball 14 times. Derek Carr led them in rushing yards, 3 for 18. Jacob 7 for 16.
Great thing we spent a number. You should be fired if you're a GM and you spend a first round pick on a running back. I mean, just terrible.
Yeah,
You're telling me I couldn't get that production that Josh Jacobs gave me from any other player in the NFL?
You look
Chuba
at Wayne,
Hubbard can do that.
You look at Wayne Gallman, who now is stepping in for and he's running backs don't matter in this league 100% unless you have the McCaffreys of the world.
And he's not a McCaffrey.
And
he's not a McCaffrey.
There's not too many McCaffreys really ever. So yeah, I'm with you. Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, I don't know.
Can I get the title? Does he get it?
Yeah, he's definitely got it for he's explosive. He can but why are you running backwards? That literally made zero sense.
Look like someone stoned playing Madden. Like, what are you doing, bro? You're running the wrong way.
Literally, because I had him on FanDuel too in cash. Like he was a punt. I'm I was like, what are you doing with that fumble? Like that hurt me a lot too. But anyway, yeah, you got to be able to run the football. Hunter Renfrow, I love this man. But Darren Waller, after week 1, has he been non-existent pretty much every single game? They just can't get him the ball or something? I don't even know.
He caught a touchdown at the end of that game. That guy called back for a holding.
Yeah, he did.
That was my best bet on our prop show.
Yep.
I'd already turned it off at that point. I just found out this morning, but still.
Yeah, no, I hate all those touchdowns that get called back for that. My question, I guess, to you, Spread, is do you think the Raiders did the Chiefs this is what the Chiefs need and they're finally going to be legit now? Because if you lose, if this was in the past and you lost to this Chiefs team the way they did, Mahomes just absolutely went off. You couldn't you'd be okay, it sucks getting blown out, but this is what the Chiefs do. They got Tyreek, they got Kelsey, they couldn't stop. Darrell Williams looked good, but this wasn't the Chiefs. They finally broke out from a Chiefs that have been awful all year. Did the Chiefs just finally figure something out? Do we give more credit to the Chiefs and not just it was the Raiders? Or how are you approaching that? Because
I know you're a big MMA guy, Title, so I'll use that type of analogy. The AFC West had the Chiefs in full mount, and they're just raining down, and they allowed themselves to get flipped, right? They did the thing, and now the Chiefs are back on top, and they had all the momentum, and they had the position, and they lit up, and they made the mistake. So I think that they're back to being the favorites in the AFC West. We've seen the Broncos, I'm ready to write off altogether.
Yeah. I
still think the Raiders technically, there's a possibility. I don't believe it'll happen, but there's still a possibility they get good. And of course, the Chargers, have so much talent, we can't write them off. September and October are cool, but what matters in this league is November and December, and they're getting hot at the right time. Tyler, talk about that a bit. And then, of course, tell me about my Raiders. Am I overreacting, or do we just fire everybody and send Mark Davis to shave his head like me? Come on, bro. What are you doing? Dude, just shave it off, dude. It's not going to look good no matter what.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the Chiefs 100% yet. I got to see them do it one more time before I say they're back. I know everyone's going to pencil them in as being back, throw them in as the AFC favorites. They're going to win the division, but I got to see it one more time. I see pocket QB Lamar Jackson in the chat says Chiefs last 4 weeks have one of the best defenses in football. And that's because they moved Chris Jones into the middle to where you can't really, he's just a wrecking ball in the middle. He's helping the guys on the end to where if you put him on the end, they can kind of just double team him and push him off. They're moving Sorensen out of the safety spot, which is good because he can't cover anything. So, their defense picks it up. Their offense should be able to get going. And as for the Raiders, I think the best thing to do is just fire everybody, start fresh after this year of you could just call it the year of hell for them.
Yeah, Mayock drafted a guy that has now killed somebody, drafted another guy that threatened to kill somebody on Instagram. That shows a lot of smarts. Drafted a running back who can give me 4th-round Chuba Hubbard production. Jonathan Abrams, who's a 1980s safety. All he can really do is hit hard in the new NFL where that's penalized. Trayvon Moehrig, I guess it's an okay pick. Just been a terrible run all around for the Raiders the last few seasons. Guys, we went a little long, so let's jump into Monday night. I didn't expect us to go too long, but I had a lot to talk about. I thought it was a fun week of NFL, even if it wasn't the best weekend for me and my picks. Let's start in tonight. Tyler, why don't we start with you? You can give out some props, and then Title and I will go ahead and work our way towards getting you a winning DraftKings lineup.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this game, the line screams trap spot to me because it just seems like it's too good for the Rams at -3.5. So complete stay away on the side for me. Now, as for props, it doesn't really look like they adjusted Van Jefferson's numbers to Woods being out. And I don't think Odell's going to get as many targets as people think tonight. It's going to be Van Jefferson in the receiver 2 spot. His number's 47.5. I think he goes over that.
Okay.
His longest reception's 20.5. I think he clears that also because he's had receptions of 24, 21, 23, 19, and 16 in his last couple of games. So he is the deep ball guy. Now he's the number 2 receiver. You got to think San Fran's going to look at Kupp and say, we got to take this guy out of the game if we want any chance of winning. A lot easier said than done, but I think Van Jefferson gets about 6 to 7 targets tonight.
All right. Title. Actually, talk about the side and the prop, and then we'll make a lineup.
You talking? Right. Oh, you want me to talk side?
I mean, it just has to be. I mean, say it's the best bet, put your mortgage on it. But I mean, which side would you bet?
I agree with Tyler. Like, this line feels weird. Like, I think 3.5 is. I mean, I thought the Rams would be like 5 or something with Jimmy.
They were.
Yeah,
this is a market move.
Plus 3.5. Like, if you look on DraftKings Sportsbook too, like -115 for the 49ers, plus 3.5. The Rams are -3.5, -105. So, like, this could even go down to 3. It's looking like. So, like, I definitely would not. I mean, my brain and everything's telling me the Rams, but when a number looks too good to be true, I don't bet it. There's always, and not always, but usually I don't bet it because it feels like I'm missing something or like I'm on the fish side. So this number, I'm glad it's like this though, because 50.5 -3.5, a close spread, like that makes DFS a lot of different ways to go. So I would lean the Rams, but I'm definitely not going to bet it because something they know that I don't know is what it feels like.
I don't know.
No, I don't.
Jonathan Nelson says I want to bet the Rams, but trappy vibe. I think it's going to be a lot like last night, where everybody was on the Raiders, right? Every show I listened to, obviously for the people I talk to when I'm out and about, it's a little different since there's a lot of Raiders fans in Sacramento, California, right? But these national shows, right? Everybody that I talked to, this was a big public dog because people love grabbing these points at home. I think it's going to be like last night, man. We got this one team in the division that is a legitimate Super Bowl contender. The Kansas City Chiefs were last night. And then tonight, the Los Angeles Rams. And then we got another team that's done bad drafting, not developing well. The coaching isn't necessarily all the way there. I know you could say that Shanahan's an offensive genius, but his ability to run the team hasn't been the best, and I always point to how he's handled Brandon Ayuk and the lack of development of some other players under his watch here. I think this is a smash spot, not to mention the Rams coming off a big loss, right? They had a loss last week.
Yeah, they lost. Wasn't it? It was prime time.
So go ahead. I'm gonna take. I'll call me SpongeBob. I'll be the SquarePants. Give me the Rams. Title. I got the DraftKings pulled up. I can't wait, dude. So first of all, let me give a quick plug to Run Pure Sports. Busy morning yesterday. I won't go through the whole thing. Up at 6 a.m. working NBA. Had a couple trips to Home Depot. Redoing the bathroom. So it's 9:45 my time. NFL kicks off at 10. I pull up the Run Pure Sports core and I just mix and match a couple. I said, you know what? I like APs, but I'm going to pull this guy here. I'm going to pull that guy there from the other cores. So I used, APs mainly, but then grabbed some from the other guys. I managed to cash. And if I would have and I had CD in there and I switched him out for Mike Evans, if I would have left that, it would have been more than the min cash, 50 off 20. It would have been even more. So what a great source that Run Pure Sports has. I didn't grind all week. I didn't run a billion projections. I pulled up the cores. I plugged the guys in that I knew just from watching football and my own handicapping and was able to get a winning lineup. So make sure you head on over to runpuresports.com. Use the promo code GETBETS to get access to the bet side as well. And you'll get access to great cores such as the one we are about to build. Title, where do we start?
I'm going to start with Van Jefferson, as Tyler was saying. I think
the
Niners, and you get a good price, like 5,400. Like he's
so he's not captain? Who's our captain?
You want to start? Oh, start at captain? Like, man, this is all right. Yeah, we'll start at captain. I'm not even. I want your help, all your helps as well, Billy. I'm not going to play Cooper Kupp in the captain because I think he's going to be the most popular captain. Okay. And why we started with Van Jefferson, because I'm also going to play Van Jefferson and also the $200 free play that Ben Skowronek. I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name, but he's going to be the one sliding into, because I don't think Odell is going to, like, I don't see him playing over 50% of snaps. I mean, if you guys.
What about the rookie?
Which one?
Tutu Atwell.
I mean, I think I see Skowronek because he's been, right now I don't even have
Atwell's on injured reserve, Tyler.
Yeah, I don't even have him. I haven't projected for 0.
Yeah, he's on injured reserve.
Oh, he hit the injury reserve.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be this Ben Skowronek guy that steps in, like, for $200, like, he's free. So if you go Van Jefferson at 54, Skowronek at $200, you can play, like, you don't have to play anybody below Van Jefferson. So I'm crossing off the defenses. I'm not even going to play a kicker. I'm just going to play 6 people. 5,400, 200 leaves you with all the money in the world. So now you can play. I'm going to play Stafford because I think
captain.
Yeah, I think so. Because if I have Van Jefferson and Skowronek, I'm hoping, obviously, a lot of it's due to the pricing, but I really like, I mean, I think Van Jefferson could go off. I think Skowronek could get one. Cooper Kupp, he's not going to get nothing. But I think I'm going to fade Cooper Kupp in the single entry in my GPPs because Van Jefferson, Skowronek, Stafford, and then I'm going to go Eli Mitchell on the. He's my favorite 49er side right now. I mean, he's getting all the run. They're going to have to run the ball. They're going to try and dominate time of possession. We saw his upside. I mean, what he did to the Seahawks early in that game last time, then he kind of fell off. But I think Mitchell does get in the box. And then obviously it can't give away the whole lineup. But then I think you go either one of George Kittle and Deebo Samuel, and that's depending on the money you have. I'd rather get Deebo if I have the money. He's been so dominant this year, but I think George Kittle gets a little overlooked at 7,800 now with the second weekend back. But the Rams have been bad against tight ends. We know George Kittle and what he can do in his upside. So I think you go Eli Mitchell, one a deep. I'm fading Jimmy G. I think he's dust, so I'm not going to play Jimmy G with so many athletes in this game. I don't mind like the Cooper Kupp fade. That's kind of just like how my roster construction is coming right now. Like, if you're playing multiple lineups, you definitely get some Cooper Kupp. If you want to play him in this lineup, I don't hate it at all. I probably wouldn't just go Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, and the Skowronek guy, though. Excuse me. I think that's kind of too much of an onslaught in a single game. Because then, like, if you fade Stafford, it could work, but you'd really need the right things to go right. So I'm mainly leaning the Cooper Kupp fade. But, man, I mean, he's going to be the highest owned on the slate. Like, you're talking about getting leverage and doing it that way. Eli Mitchell, and then one of Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. And that's why I like Skowronek so much at 200. I mean, he can get you 3 points and you could chip. Yesterday, I don't know, Cam, one of the guys at the Run Pure side, he's one of the members, but he was in first place for a while. And if Renfro didn't get those last couple catches, he would have shipped with 2 points from a two. I forget it. Some guy didn't even remember his name, but he got one catch for the Chiefs for like 10 yards. He had like 2.5 points. And he was going to ship the biggest tournament and have the stone nuts at 2 points from 200 because it's all about roster construction. If the spend ups get you all the points and you got the right captain, that's a spend up and it allows you to fit the studs and it's a stars. The bums don't do anything. You can easily ship with a 3 points, a 4 points at 200. So that's my reason for going there. Eli Mitchell's my favorite. Van Jefferson's my favorite. So I'm going to give that 3 as a core.
And then we'll throw Stafford at captain. You got it. That's the core. Yep. So if you guys, there's a lot of information in there. But, hey, if you just write it down right now, Stafford captain, Van Jefferson, Elijah Mitchell, and Skowronek. And then you have plenty of money for the last 2. So don't complain that we left you broke and desperate and begging for money on the corner. You got plenty to spend. So much fun doing this with ran a little longer than I thought, but hey, I had a lot to talk about after yesterday, right? A lot of things happening in the NFL and I really enjoyed getting all your guys' thoughts. So a lot of fun. I hope everybody watching enjoyed it as well. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, share it with your friends. This stuff is not a secret. We're trying to get people out. You see us, we're interacting with the chat. We want the chat to be as lively as possible. We want as many people to be part of the Run Pure movement as well. Tyler, anything else for the people before we get out of here? Change some clothes and switch into our NBA vibe.
Nope. I mean, just bet all the Van Jefferson props you can tonight because he's going to get a lot of targets. They can't all go to Cooper Kupp, and not sure how much Odell knows of the playbook yet. So I think it's going to be a big Van Jefferson night.
And from what I read in his time in Cleveland, he didn't really use the plays in the playbook regardless.
Yeah,
did you read that? He was just running his own routes. Yeah. Title. So I just wanted to let you know, I want to thank you for coming on and just let you know, hey, right now you're covering the NFL for us, but you're not going to get out that easy. Once the season ends, Title, we're going to be bringing you on the NBA. I've been watching you on Hardwood. You've given out great stuff. I've been using all the information in your course. Man, after that great first week, I've just been like Mr. Min Cash, but that's fine with me, right? I keep grinding along. That bankroll staying right around the same, and I've enjoyed all the content you brought. So, guys, please like, share, subscribe, and you'll be notified when Tyler and I are back in 25 minutes with Mr. Bobby Gomes to break down the NBA slate. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and Run Pure.